I got curious recently about why we do this with the word pastor. Why all the modifiers in front of pastor? Senior pastor, head pastor, lead pastor, associate pastor, assistant pastor, music pastor, discipleship pastor, youth pastor, executive pastor, women's pastor. Maybe not that one for some of you, but all those just kind of like, why do we modify that? So we then think, okay, like where did that come from? And you think about, okay, well, we're hiring a youth pastor, and most of us tend to think, we don't say this out loud, but we're thinking, well, the youth part is really in capital letters. That's what really matters. Does this normally guy, can he relate well to the kids? And if he can, then the pastor part, he might not know the Bible very well, might be uncomfortable going to the hospital. That's okay because the pastor's like little tiny letters. Youth is the big word. Or the executive pastor, executive is big. He's good with money and keeping everything together. That's really what we're hiring for. Pastors little. So where does that come from? And I started thinking about in the 19th century, the age of specialization is upon us. Johns Hopkins was really the first university that used a German model of education where you have a university with separate colleges and kind of specialization. Specialization per se is not bad. We're glad that there's skilled doctors and all that sort of thing. But when it comes to pastors, have we so modified it that we've redefined in our mind what the qualifications ought to be for a pastor, anyone called a pastor? Like it's gotten so bad that I've had senior pastors or teaching pastors admit, well, I'm really not a people person. But they got hired to mainly teach. And so again, that would be like the teaching in uppercase letters and the pastor in little letters. C.S. Lewis said years ago that when words start to get modified, the word itself is losing its meaning. So when gentleman gets modified by, oh, he's a true gentleman. He's an honest gentleman. He's a charitable gentleman. Then we know that the word actually, gentleman, has started to lose its power. And I wonder and I fear about the same thing with pastor. It's a very recent thing. I've not been able to trace it any earlier than, say, mid-19th century or so, and just something to think about.